So we are talking about MYTHICA, the Iron Crown, the fourth film in the MYTHICA series by Arrowstorm Entertainment. And this one actually has new director John Lidd at the helm of it. And I have to say, I feel he does a better job here than the previous two directors on the last three films. So this kind of series of films, I think, has some inherent problems that I don't think is going to change no matter who kind of basically is in charge of it. The style of this series of films is very much that of the TV shows of the 90s, such as Xena, Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. It's just kind of this very unsophisticated sort of style of storytelling that I feel was more prevalent back then. But in the days now where we have things like Game of Thrones and kind of like, I think people are demanding a little bit more quality. Even in lower budget kind of independent films, I feel this one is a little bit sorely lacking. But if they had come out maybe sort of 15 years ago, maybe that they would have kind of, I feel, be a little bit more well regarded. But there you go. But that's not to say that Arrowstorm don't do some good films, because they do. Anyway, let's talk about the Iron Crown. So the fourth film in this franchise basically follows our heroes as they are trying to kind of reach this goddess to basically give her the remaining portion of this Darkspore, which is just basically this evil artifact that if that falls into the hands of this kind of like generic necromancer, then all hell will break loose, etc. And this goddess may well be the resurrection of one of their friends. Along the way, they basically appropriate a vehicle, kind of like some kind of it's meant to be like a steam powered kind of tank basically, so this definitely has a bit more of a steampunk feel to it, and I would say it's actually somewhat reminiscent of Mad Max in certain scenes. They're pursued by a rival group of mercenaries and also this kind of like this band of steampunk sky pirates. So that's pretty much a plot here. There is a kind of a B plot, I would say, where we have the kind of the good sorcerer played by Kevin Sorbo fighting an evil sorcerer called Szorlok, basically, who's the kind of the main bad guy in this kind of alternate dimension. And my God, that really drags. My God, so much time is spent there, and it's literally these two guys talking smack throughout the whole film, and then just shooting magic sort of point blank at each other. It's ridiculous, and my God, the bad guy is so generic. Anyway, I'm digressing. I have to say, I thought this film is the best of the series so far. The director, John Lidd here, definitely injects more of a whimsical sense of fun compared to the previous three stories. And this film, this movie just seems to have a little bit more of a pace to it, a bit more of a kind of an energy than the previous three movies do. I feel this one maybe embraces its kind of cheesy roots a little bit more than the other three, and it benefits because of that. There's definitely a greater sense of fun to be had here, and a swashbuckling feel. There are some quite interesting kind of set pieces. I quite like this kind of like this steam-powered tank that they're quite using, and it just adds this whole new flavour. And there's also some interesting new guest characters that come on board, including this kind of group of mercenaries. Although there's some odd choices in editing here, I'll come on to that. And we also have this kind of this girl who happens to be on this barge at the same time, who I have to say that they do an interesting thing with her, which I kind of liked. And almost a little twist about her fate, which I thought was quite fun. And then we're in the Sky Pirates. I would say fare less well. The visual effects on their kind of flying machines, I think, looks pretty weak, which is a bit sad. Obviously, it's an independent film, it's low budget. There's only so much they can do in their effects. Where I felt the last movie, the third film, actually benefited a little bit. It dialed down the CGI, but this one kind of embraces it a little more, and it looks a bit crap, I've got to say, particularly at the end. The end of this film, the inevitable kind of fighting climax, is sadly the kind of the worst part of this film. It's the most convoluted. It's poorly shot. There's some terrible editing here. I mean, we have these sky pirates that are basically jumping down from the kind of the air barge, and they're meant to kind of be landing in this kind of shallow bed of water that they're all fighting on. But you can clearly see the edit doesn't quite catch it properly, and you just see them jumping up and kind of landing in the water again, where they're meant to be just kind of jumping down from these sky ships. So I think it needs to be a little touched up there, in my opinion. And the whole kind of the end scene is just a convolute that there's this good character, this massive muscly bloke that turns up and then disappears, and we have no idea who he is. So I feel the ending here is unfortunately a little weak, and the choreography is mixed. I would say there are some good action sequences, but there's some kind of like poorly staged ones as well. But the remaining, I would say, the initial 2/3 of this film are pretty good. I feel it's definitely got this kind of a higher energy kind of action sort of feel to it. Again, there's some poor choices in editing. One of the kind of this rival band of mercenaries, they're chasing him on horseback a lot of the times, and when we see close-ups of him talking, it looks a little rude. It's all I'm saying. I don't know if that was a kind of an in-joke, but it's kind of that's a poorly chosen shot there, I've got to be honest. Anyway, this film has still got its inherent problems. The characters are all still massively generic. They're all still just huge, massive stereotypes that don't kind of really have any depth. Although I would say with this, the director here does maybe make the characters have a little bit more to them. They seem to be just kind of like easing off a little bit, and they're kind of like taking their roles super seriously, and they just seem to embrace it a little more and kind of enjoy the campiness, and that comes through in the film and makes it a better movie as a whole. This is definitely, in my opinion at least, the best film out of the series. It does fall apart in the end, I've got to say, and the scenes with the two sorcerers fighting, my god, they're boring. Cut them out. But it's a kind of still a fun film. If you like steampunk, you may want to check this out. There's some interesting designs here on some of the kind of the vehicles, and obviously you've got all the pirates got their kind of goggles on and all of that. So that was quite fun. And also there's some nice location shooting here. Even though I didn't really like the end battle scene, I would say where it's shot is very interesting, makes for a kind of quite a unique visual, so I did like that. Overall, I'm going to give this movie a 6.5, the best out of the Mythica series so far. We'll see what number 5 is like. 6.5 for me. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.